Nandipha, read the room. Like, Nandipha, read the room. Welcome to another episode of What in the South is going on here. And when I tell you that it's been a week, my boy, it's been a week, but we're gathered here again, and I'm gonna give you the lowdown on everything that's happening in your country, because wow, guningi, and it keeps getting guningi. Before we even get into it, I am yet again outside, except this time around I'm in the beautiful country of Mozambique. And yeah, I've been here since since Tuesday. So I landed on Tuesday, so that would have been August 22nd. This is my first ever solo birthday trip, and I did it. I literally did it. Today is my last day here, and I just thought, let me just shoot some content. Also, I do have a 24th birthday vlog coming up where we talk about Mozambique, the things I've done, and yeah, we'll just get ready to see that. It's coming in a couple of days from this episode. But anywho, let's get into it. Because it's really, really hot here, we have a glass of water. And yeah, so let's get into it. First things first, I would say the big thing that has been happening the past 3 days would be the BRICS summit, my boy. The BRICS summit has everybody talking, and to me, I was very surprised to find out that this whole BRICS conversation has been something that has been in the works for a couple of years now. And I was like, I'm only hearing about it now, my boy. And to the ordinary person, myself included, this BRICS summit and this BRICS block and the BRICS conversation is such a multifaceted concept that I was like, what's going on? I can't tell if it's like a good thing or something that we should be fighting off, but I'll just give you the basic overview from my own understanding of what this whole BRICS summit is about. So this whole BRICS summit block is basically about countries coming together to create a currency that can withstand or stand together with the dollar, right? And it's just about strengthening economic ties. And the whole thing about it, I don't think that it's about overthrowing the dollar, but rather creating a currency that can stand against the dollar and be just as valuable as the dollar, so that countries that are under this currency have a lot more freedom in terms of dictating what goes on in their country. Because currently, right now, the West rules the world because of this currency, of the dollar currency, I mean. So this BRICS currency will be backed up by gold and mineral resources, and that's what they're going to use in the trading world, which is what is going to strengthen our economy in terms of South Africa and the countries that are part of the BRICS countries. And yeah, so basically that's the overview from what I've been able to grasp and understand about this whole thing. I would say that it's a good thing. It's a good thing. And I think there's also misconceptions about countries that are falling under this BRICS currency wanting to overthrow the dollar. No, it's not about overthrowing the dollar, but it's about getting to a point where you're building a currency that can stand with the dollar, which means that countries that are using the BRICS currency can now trade in a fair manner. So we don't have the West kind of setting the rules of trade, because the dollar is so strong against other currencies. So that's what I've gotten from this whole thing, and I must say it's an interesting one. It's an interesting one, and I hope we live to see the day where this BRICS currency comes into fruition and we're able to live in the BRICS lifestyle, if that makes sense. Anywho, we're gonna move past the BRICS summit BRICS currency conversation right now, and I'll give you guys an update as soon as I'm able to also get more information, more understanding of what this really means, especially for South Africa, because the last update I heard was that the UAE also wants to join, Argentina wants to join, and all of that stuff. So I just want to see what this would mean for South Africans. Does this mean that we now get passport privilege so that we can travel to the UAE with a lot more ease, and it's not so expensive to live there, like be a tourist there and do touristy things? And when I talk about the UAE, I'm mostly specifying with the what's this country, Dubai. But yeah, it's I think it's about to be a fun time. Like I said, we'll see what the update is, and I hope that this conversation and these summits actually come into fruition, and we'll be able to witness the day where the dollar is not such a dominant currency. Next up, we have the Uyinene story. So the Uyinene tavern owner was back in court, and I would say he's a bit delulu because he's taking no accountability whatsoever. So just to remind you what this Uyinene tavern story is about. So it's about the 21 teenagers that died in an East London tavern nightclub, and it's currently like shut down, and there's like a court case going on about I believe the municipality of the area wants to demolish the building and stuff like that. But then the owner is taking the municipality to court, saying that he's going to be losing millions if that is done. And the issue here is not the building structure itself. So the incident is in isolation of the building structure itself, so they have no right to demolish the place. So yeah, and his whole thing is that those kids did not die because of being given alcohol or anything like that, but because they were poisoned. That's what he's saying, that they were poisoned prior to their arrival to the tavern. The other thing he's saying is that he's still using his liquor license, so he's still trading alcohol, he's still selling alcohol using his liquor license that he has. I'm just so crazy. It's just so crazy that to me that they didn't deprive him of his liquor license, but I guess there's no legal way to do that, even with the case where 21 kids have been murdered. And the fact that he was letting, that's what he's on the court proceedings are about now, the fact that he contravened the Liquors Act, which states that you cannot give alcohol or sell alcohol to anyone under the age of 18. So that's like the big thing, which is crazy to me, because it's like people's kids have died, but I guess lawically, he's saying even such a way, but according to the law, he cannot be held accountable for the deaths of those kids, because the toxicology report is saying that it was toxins, the signs of toxins. So there's no actual real reason tying the murders to the tavern owner, you know. So yeah, it's just a crazy story. I heard him talk about it. He was being interviewed by ENCA, and it's like he's not even apologetic that so many people's kids died at his establishment and in his hands, basically. So he's taking no accountability for it, but he's also not even like sorry about it, which is a crazy thing for me. But anyway, anywho, I'll update you guys as soon as we have an update. But moving right along, so we have the Senzo Mayiwa case, which even on holiday I have been catching up on and trying to consume much of it as I possibly can. In the past 2 weeks, we've seen several witnesses take the stand. I believe would have been about 3 to 4 witnesses, and I think at this point in time the case is more focused on the handling of evidence. So it's highlighting more on the policing end of things and not so much the witnesses that were in the house kind of thing. And what I am getting from all of this is that our policing system really failed to follow process and procedure when it came to handling this case. So many things that should have been done were not done. And we're at a point where now the advocates are questioning the handling of exhibits. So these exhibits would be the handling of the actual crime scene and the gun and the bullet cartridges and all of that stuff. So those are like the words we've been hearing a lot in the past couple of weeks. And we have different colonels, constables coming in who have been dealing with this case, and they're giving expert evidence. But what I found interesting yesterday is that one of the ladies that were, my apologies, but one of the women, I'm not sure if she's a constable or anyone, but she was there giving expert evidence. She was refusing to give any sort of comment on a picture that was taken by another member of the police or the investigating team, if you can call it that. And to me, as much as it's well within her right to refuse to answer any question or comment on anything, but I just thought that it was very concerning that you're in court giving expert evidence, yet when an advocate is asking for your expert knowledge or commentary on a certain image, you are refusing simply because that image wasn't taken by you. I think when it comes to arguments, her credibility as an expert witness will be easily discredited, because if you're refusing just on the basis that this picture was not taken by you, yet you're there giving photography expert evidence and you're only commenting on the pictures that you've taken, it is well within her right to do so, but that makes her a very shaky witness when it comes to credibility as an expert, because I think even as an expert, I wouldn't, like, if I'm an expert in photography and I'm asked to comment on someone else's picture and merely on the expert basis, then I should be able to do so, So that was my whole take on it. But then again, it is well within her right to refuse to comment on evidence that is not provided by her. But these past couple of days, it's just been expert evidence and experts coming in to basically comment and share their knowledge of the pictures that they took, but also the process and procedures that are done when dealing with exhibits. Right now, the questions of, because the person that's currently on the witness stand right now, he's saying that, what's funny is that they become so adamant about process and procedure, say this will not be done under my watch. Like this specific, who's this? And I keep saying, I'm that's the most annoying thing when I'm actually in post-production editing these videos. But anyway, so he was being so adamant that things are done according to the book in his presence, that he does not accept any sort of exhibits that are not in a sealed evidence bag. Yet there's another witness who said that they booked out one of the exhibits, which have been the gun, and it was not in a sealed evidence bag. So now we have those contradictions where you have an expert who's so adamant about the fact that he does everything by the book, and that any exhibit that comes in his presence needs to be sealed and contained properly for him to accept it. But then we have such a thing happen, so I'm anticipating that the rest of the week is just gonna go like that. And I'm saying rest of the week, but I mean the rest of today's proceedings, because I'm shooting this on a Friday. So I'll be back again to give you guys the lowdown of what happens in the new week as per usual. So we're gonna move on to the next story. I'm not even sure what to call it, but yesterday marked 4 years since the rape and murder of Uyinene at a Clarinet post office in Cape Town. It's crazy that years later I still struggle to articulate myself, and for the longest time I didn't understand why it was such a heavy thing to articulate for me, and I'm only understanding now that it's because that was a very traumatic thing to witness, to be in an environment where such a thing had happened, and it's like the whole process of it, you know, because it was like, she is me and I'm her. There's nothing that she did that I wouldn't have done, or my roommate wouldn't have done, or my friends wouldn't have done, you know. And I guess that was a very, like, the very first experience where you hear about such things, and it consumes you so much because you're faced with the raw reality of the sort of environment that you're in. So yeah, I still find it very difficult, because it is like you are at the, like, we witnessed it from almost the beginning right to the very end, if I could say that. Because first it's like a UCT student has gone missing, and the conversations around that is that, oh, probably went out, got drunk, lost her phone, battery died, something like that. And then a couple of days later go by, and the conversation now changes, is, even if that's the case, can she be safe and sound, come back home safe and sound? And then the conversation shifts to, oh, she was seen here, she was seen here, she had a nail appointment, she had a hair appointment, she was seen here, she was seen here. And then in the midst of all of that, there are other things that come out, you know, such as that, oh, guys, be careful of going into this area, this happened, oh, someone else is missing, oh, this, that, you know. And you're in the middle of all of it, consuming every single thing, not understanding that it's also consuming you. And then days go by, and you realize how serious this is. And then when the full story comes out of what happened on that fateful day, it's, I can't even articulate it, but it's a very traumatizing thing to think that there were all these stories happening saying that she was seen there, but she was never seen there because she was murdered on that day, you know. So yeah. Ooh, yeah. The Uyinene Foundation will be hosting a 5-kilometer walk from Rose Common House, which is where she used to stay, to the Clarineck post office. So this walk, it's called Walk in Unity, in remembrance of her and the many other faceless, nameless victims of GBV. So yeah, if you're in Cape Town, do join it. And yeah, just remember her. Yeah. And on to some other news. Ooh. And on to some other news. So Zimbabwe held its 2023 elections, and the only reason why I'm laughing is because South Africans are hilarious. Please, if you're not on TikTok South Africa, you're wasting your time. South Africans are hilarious because there was this skit by this Dumelo, the narrator, where, or is it Dumi the narrator, something like that. She was doing a whole skit about the elections in Zimbabwe and the fact that Zimbabweans in South Africa are more focused on the BRICS summit instead of the elections that are happening in their country. It is a very hilarious skit. But yeah, the 2023 elections in Zim happened a couple of days ago, and I heard there was like an extension to it because a lot of people were not showing up on, I don't know if he's looking at me or not, were not showing up on the at the voting stations and stuff like that. But yeah, that's the update on it. But I think it's mostly because the citizens of that country have just given up, because they're like, oh, the whole voting system is so rigged, because how do you run out of like those voting paper thingies, when there's still so many people that haven't voted, when their lines are still very much big, because if people aren't voting, if I'm not mistaken, then it automatically counts as a vote for the current ruling party. So in this case would be Mangwangwa, something like that. So yeah, that's all I have about it. If you can, just search for the TikTok skit, and it's hilarious. Also, don't think too deeply about it. Like, don't watch the skit and want to be offended. Like, it's just laugh about it and keep it moving. Yeah, on to more ridiculous news that happened in this country. Nandipha Magudumani released a statement. I'm not even sure how she released it. Was it through the lawyers? I don't even know. But she released a statement, and you can go to Twitter to read the full statement, right? I just thought that it's hilarious, because she talks about the fact that the government is wasting resources by keeping her in the Kroonstad prison, and now she's advocating for prisoners' rights or something like that. And she was talking about the illegal incarceration of her in Tanzania. It's like, my guy. So when I read that full statement, I was very confused. And she's like, she's like, since it's Women's Month, I think that she's advocating for women's rights in prisons and stuff like that. And it's like, Nandipha, read the room. Like, Nandipha, read the room. Read the room, girl. No. But I thought that was very ridiculous, because then I went to the comment section, and the first comment I saw, and there was, I Nandipha man's busy. Isn't this serious? Summit busy. And personally, I agree. It's like, I'm not sieg. But anyway, to the end of this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in thus far, and I hope this was informative. I hope you are on par with what's happening in your country currently. And last but not least, if you're new to my channel, welcome. This is a channel of conversations about everything and anything. And if you're a returning subscriber, you already know this. I appreciate you. Please don't forget to like, comment, share to your friends and family, and their friends and their family, and their friends and their family. See you in my next episode. Bye.